I'm starting this project off with an empty water bottle. This is a 1-quart water bottle that's about 3 inches in diameter. The key for this to work is to have a smooth radius like this. You can't have anything with a design or any ribs in it. The smart water bottles are the same shape and they'll work as well, but this cheap Kroger water is about half that price. For this one, I'm using rubber 3/16 inside diameter vacuum line. So I found the perfect size drill bit, but then I used the one size down from it. So this way it'll be a really tight fit. But to get it in there, you need to cut an angle on it. You want to have the short end on this side of the cap, and this whole vacuum line is almost 3 feet long. The other end can be cut square or at an angle. I'm leaving it cut square right now. The shop vac I'm using is a rigid 6 horsepower, 14 gallon. The hoses on these wet vacs are pretty standard. This one's 2 1/4 inches. You can see how this attachment fits right in the end. So the hose could be a little bit smaller, it could be a little bit bigger, and it would still work. So let's try it out. It's significantly smaller and more precise than the other attachment I normally use. So what are some real-world applications for something like this in the workshop? One obvious one would be cleaning off the keyboards on the computer and the laptop. On this machine, every time something falls on there, it seems like it wedges itself underneath those keys. And I'd much rather use the vac and suck it out than use high-pressured air and run the risk of causing damage or blowing it further in there. And I definitely don't want to start prying off these keys. There are a lot of times where you have a small little space and you really don't want to use air because you're blowing the debris further in. Case in point, one of these motors on my CNC, it just traps debris down there, and I've blown them out before, and I've messed up bearings by making them gritty. So this is a tight little spot in here that builds up a lot of debris, and you've got a bearing in the bottom. So if you hit that with air, you're blowing that debris in that bearing. Even though it's sealed, you'll mess it up. So this will reach right in there, it doesn't hurt anything, and can clean it right out. Also, like small engines and automotive engines, it'll fit down in spark plug holes. So I know on a couple occasions, like working on motorcycles and stuff, pulling out plugs and you break loose a little bit of dirt and you know it fell in there. And if you blow it, you don't know if you got it out or whether you pushed it in there further. So this can reach in there and suck it out. Same goes for if you're chasing those threads or installing new threads, you can suck the shavings out. Also, like for automotive, if you're working on intakes, like I did this one recently, if you are scraping material, even if you're plugging up these ports, you can still get little pieces of gasket in there, or you need to pick up some carbon that you scraped off, you can just suck it right out. With the diameter of this cap being only 1.25 inches, it'll work with a household vacuum as well. One common use inside the house would be cleaning off a sewing machine. Another useful size to have is a 1/2 inch inside diameter. It's good, especially like I was saying, for gaskets and stuff, you have bigger pieces. If it can reach in there, it's just more reasonable to use a larger size hose. All you need is a secondary cap. Most of them are pretty universal. And then you can use this 1/2 inch ID, 3/4 inch OD, vinyl tubing. This one's probably 18 inches long. Both of these setups work a heck of a lot better than the way I used to do it. One tip on tubing, if you store it coiled up like this, it tends to stay like that over time, and like this is very stiff, it's kind of hazy, and it's just hard to work with. I cut this piece from the same coil, and I got the haze off, and it's a lot more flexible, and I'll show you how I did that. I found a 1/2 inch steel rod, and I fit the bent tubing over that, and heated it with the heat gun. You're not trying to melt it, you're just trying to get it kind of warm, and then you just let it cool, and when you take it off, it takes away a lot of that old hazing, and it's a lot more flexible, and it takes away that curve memory that it had. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps out the channel. Thanks.